Hello everyone. This audio is my summary of learning from ECS 203 along with my partner Kaylin Krukov, and we'll both be speaking on behalf of one another. My name is Abdullah Abulkir. Kaylin and I are both enrolled in the combined major program in education and math. One of the main misconceptions that I had at the start of class was my idea of the curriculum and pedagogy. Initially, I believed that curriculum was to be taken for granted as the only possible way of teaching a class, and that as teachers we had to follow it precisely without changing it or interpreting it. I also believed that we had to follow and meet all outcomes and indicators, as they are. Throughout the course, I started to discover just how wrong I was. I learned that as teachers, our job is to change, adjust, and reshape the curriculum and our pedagogy in order to ensure the best delivery for our students. At the start of class, I also believed that as teachers, our job was not to question the curriculum because it's flawless and continuously developing. I came to realize that the curriculum hasn't had a major change in 15 years, and that it is full of flaws and errors. Prior to class, I also believed that as teachers and educators, we were responsible for the construction of the curriculum, and I was shocked to discover how little of an impact educators have over the curriculum, which made me start to question things like, who is the curriculum in favor of? Whose truth and methods does it follow? And why is it formatted a certain way? As a future educator, I've always had many questions and concerns regarding my teaching approach. I always ask myself, how do I ensure the best delivery methods for my students? How do I create equal learning opportunities in my classroom? How do I account for students with challenges in my class? Prior to class, I had no answers to any of the previous questions, but throughout the class, I started to learn and develop an understanding of what it takes to be a good quality teacher. I learned that a good quality teacher accounts for every student in their class and tries their best to ensure every student in their class is comfortable, safe, and very engaged. I learned that a bad teacher will explain a lesson and expect students to automatically grasp it. But a good teacher will use different approaches and a variety of teaching methods in order to ensure every member of my class understand what they are being taught. So the way I look at it is, a good teacher will teach something until every student understands it, instead of teaching it and expect every student to understand it. My ECS 203 class has also taught me the importance for teachers to create safe environments for all students and help students with challenges or disadvantages in their class. As an immigrant from Syria, I myself had my fair bit of struggle due to my limited English knowledge when I first arrived in Canada. So I understand how frustrating it is for students when they feel like they don't have the proper tools and skills to learn, or when they feel like they don't have equal opportunities as their classmates. My experience, along with the things I learned in class, will help me think of ways to help students with multiple ethnicities, multiple languages, students with disabilities, etc., in order to ensure everyone in my class has an equal learning opportunity, which is my main goal as a teacher. One thing I continue to struggle with is discomfort in learning, whether it's discomfort because I don't understand the topic or from a fear of discussing difficult topics, or from a fear of sharing my ideas with my classmates. My ECS 203 class taught me that there is nothing wrong with being wrong about something, and that a healthy struggle is an important part of learning. I've also learned that it's okay to be different from the norm and have your own thoughts and ideas, and that it is important that we don't fear discussing more difficult topics because otherwise it will continue to stay under the radar. I learned the importance of talking about topics like racism, gender inequalities, gender-based violence, and many other topics that I would never had the courage to discuss prior to class. But throughout class, my fear decreased gradually, and I became more open to discussing them. I understand the importance of talking about important topics and ensuring my students feel comfortable with them, because I want my class to be a space where students have no fear of learning about anything. And I understand the importance of teaching about such topics in order to eliminate them, because I realized that in order to eliminate racism, gender inequalities, gender-based violences, and any other form of inequalities, we have to teach students about them and teach them why they're wrong, why they should stay away from them, and why they should question any source that produces any of those inequalities.
Hello, it is Kaylin, and the main thing that I took away from this course is that common sense does not always equal common sense. For example, like something as little as being on the right-hand side, walking on the right-hand side in other regions It might be the left-hand side. It might not always be the right-hand side, and we just assume that, oh, we're in Canada, or let's walk on the right-hand side. Maybe it isn't as clear as we think in our culture. So something that I can implement is that I can't just assume that people can do things or people know things. Something that I took away that I feel is very relevant to me as a future math teacher is that most people consider themselves non-math people. And I thought that this was very interesting that in the baby subtraction video, where they take these dolls and stuffed animals away from these babies, and if something doesn't add up, the babies will immediately click and notice it. So this just proves that everybody's a math person. It's just a state of mind. There are a few more things that are very important for me to implement into my classroom. One being I need to queer the curriculum. Something as little as a safe zone sticker can make a difference to a student, whether they feel heard or safe in this classroom of mine. Another thing is in treaty education, I need to make sure to have the guts to speak on these difficult topics. I can't just change the subject or, in quotations, run out of time. I'm also planning to implement a few teaching styles that I've learned throughout the course. Within these teaching styles, no one teaching style is superior. All of them have their moments. Those teaching styles are behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. Now, with behaviorism, this is when you kind of train a student, oh, this happens, this is how you react. For example, this is a story that my dad told me about his days as a sub, because he's also a teacher. He would give out candy to any students who would behave. There it is, right there. That is a major case of behaviorism because he is rewarding students for a certain behavior. Cognitivism, I am just used to it. It's what I went through throughout high school, especially as a math and science student. I learned, I studied, and then I showed my work by writing tests. Constructivism is something that I learned is very efficient in an e-math class of mine. It is the most active I've ever seen students in a classroom. And that's not just because it's university and everyone wants to be here. It is this constructive approach is actively engaging these students to participate and to work with each other. And that is definitely something that I'm going to implement into my own teaching style. Teaching style. I'm going to implement into my own teaching style. My own teaching style. Style.